Welcome to Solivity.com's passion-driven interviews with founder Brian Westley Johnson. Each of these carefully curated interviews is all about supporting you and getting inspired to live your best life today. So let's get started. Here's Brian. Thank you for joining us tonight because we have a phenomenal and awesome show for you. People. I love people. I mean, they come in all shapes and sizes, colors and hues. They are just plain interesting to me. And what I love the most about people are their stories. You know, everyone has one. And when you take the time to listen to these stories, they can speak to you and even sometimes touch your heart. These stories give us wisdom. Not necessarily about those things we shouldn't do in life, though that happens and that's true. I'm talking about the wisdom that in many ways tells us we're all connected and we're all going through life with hopes, dreams, wishes, and ambitions. We rise, we fall, we laugh, we cry, we live. Tonight we feature model, actress, author, humanitarian, and mom, Garcelle Beauvais. From when she was very young, she pursued the goal of living a life of her dreams. And she has amassed a long list of acting credits to her name, and I mean a long list. She's had starring roles on television in shows such as The Jamie Foxx Show, NYPD Blue, Franklin and Bash, Grimm, and The Mentalist. And she's had starring roles in films, hit films, such as The Wild Wild West, White House Down, Bad Company, Flight, and most recently, the worldwide hit Spider-Man Homecoming, which is a phenomenal movie. In addition to her busy schedule of acting and production credits, Garcelle is also co-host of the highly rated daily syndicated show, Hollywood Today Live, which appears on Fox TV across the nation. Like all of us, she's had great successes and sorrows. I mean, these are the ups and downs of life, which is what makes all of us human and part of the point. What I want each of you to take away from tonight's show is that no matter what challenges come your way, you can always move through them to be all that you were meant to be, letting Garcelle's story, in part, show you the way. So with that, it is my pleasure to welcome to Solivity Live, Garcelle Beauvais. Hey, my sister, mademoiselle.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. I'm so glad to have you with us tonight. I want everybody to remember we love questions. So if you have a question during the show, just post it here to the live feed and we'll get to as many of them as we can throughout the show. There'll probably be a lot tonight. So, Garcelle, let's start with an easy question.
Okay.
Where were you born?
I was born in St. Mark, Haiti, which is Port-au-Prince is where everybody knows when they hear of Haiti, but St. Mark is in the mountains. Mm-hmm. And I was born there. Me and my brothers and sisters, there's 7 of us.
And you left to migrate to the United States when you were young, correct?
Yes, I was 7 years old.
Wow.
Moved to Massachusetts in the dead of winter.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't speak a word of English. Wow. I had never seen snow, mind you, Massachusetts in January. And I had rarely seen white people. So I thought my mom snapped and she was trying to kill us.
Now, since you were there till in Haiti till 7, do you have memories? I mean, you probably have some memories of Haiti.
Absolutely.
What was life like that for you in Haiti?
Well, life for me, I mean, I was a kid, so it was all about, going to school, having fun, going to my grandmother's house. Then once I was born in St. Mark, we moved to Port-au-Prince.
Okay.
So in the summers, we would go to see my grandmother in St. Mark. And, you know, she had a store on the front of the house. So she had jars of candy. So that's a big memory of mine.
Yeah. You want you to do, okay, you have to do this stuff right, or unless you don't get any candy.
Exactly. And I just loved my grandmother so much. And it was just great memories. You know, when you're a kid, you're not thinking about the problems of the world or what your parents are going through. It was just about pure fun, loving my country. I would perform for my family and then make them pay me for my performance because I was worth it.
Okay.
Or so I thought. Yeah, so I have great memories.
Wow. So you left there at 7 and you moved to Massachusetts. What was life? I mean, you kind of alluded to it before, but what was life like for you now that you've arrived in the United States?
It was a culture shock for a lot of many reasons. It was a culture shock. And I couldn't go to school right away because I didn't know the language or could understand the language. So I stayed home for the first, I don't know if it was a year, I don't remember, but I would stay home and I would watch Sesame Street and I'd go apple, and I would count with the count. And that's pretty much how the English language sort of, that's how I learned it until I could go to school and really fully.
Wow. So everyone, public television works.
Yes, it does.
You know that? It's important.
Yes, it does.
How many years did you stay there?
In Massachusetts?
Mm-hmm.
We stayed there until I was about 16, and I was very much into dance. I danced jazz, tap, and ballet. And I remember I had a recital coming up, so I begged my mom if she would let me stay with my teacher so I could perform. Okay. And she did. I think my mom was in a way living through me. She let me, you know, when the opportunities come, she let me have them, which is one of the reasons why she brought me to America, so I can understand that. But so, yeah, my mom couldn't take the cold anymore. That's what I was afraid of. Hold on a second. Okay.
Go for it.
My mom couldn't take the cold anymore, so we moved to Miami.
You know, it's funny because I was just about to ask you why Miami, but I was thinking, okay, they're from Haiti. Up in Massachusetts is just bitter cold.
Too cold. Too cold for the Haitians, the tropical Haitians. Mind you, there's a lot of Haitians in Boston, especially in Dorchester. There's, you know, Haitians everywhere.
Right.
But so we moved to Miami. My mom moved first, and then after I did my recital, I moved to Miami. And then a friend of mine was doing commercials. And he was like, hey, they need an extra in a commercial. Do you want to be an extra? And I was like, what's an extra? And he said, you're just kind of like background. And I thought, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And about that time, people started saying to my mom, she should be a model. She's beautiful. So the seed was sort of being planted. So I said, yeah, so I'll do this commercial. It was an orange juice commercial. It was 2 days worth of work. Wow. And, you know, I was hanging out with my friends. So it was kind of cool, a new experience. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to backtrack too after this. I have a sidebar about moving to Miami. Okay. And so we did this, the 2-day commercial. And at the end of the 2 days, one of the leads of the commercial was this beautiful Black girl. So at the end of the commercial, I went up to her and I said, hey, I want to do what you're doing. Like, I want to be in the forefront. I don't want to be in the background. And nothing wrong with extras. We all, you know, everybody needs to work. And so I was like, I'd like to do what you're doing. How can I do that? Who are you with? Are you with an agency? And she looked at me and she was like, girl, you're on your own. I'm not going to help you.
Oh, no.
So she wouldn't help me. But me, yeah, every man for themselves or woman. And so I found out who she's with because I'm determined. Mm-hmm. And so I found out it was an agency in Fort Lauderdale. So I decided one day I'm going to borrow my mom's car and I'm going to drive up to the agency and see if they'll see me, right? Okay. So I'm driving to Fort Lauderdale. I'm in the car by myself and I stop at a red light. And I poke my head out the window to check my makeup. So I decided at that point, I'm going to put on lip gloss. So I'm reaching for my lip gloss, which was on the passenger seat. Okay. And all of a sudden, a hand came into the car, scared the out of me. I don't know if I should curse on your show. No. Scared me. And when I looked to see who it was, and it was a woman who apparently, she was behind me at the light in her car.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw me peek out and she said, "You should be a model. Here's my card." And it was the agency that I was going to without an appointment or anything.
No way.
I swear to God.
No way. Okay, see, all right. Hear this, people? All right. Miracles happen.
They do.
Okay.
They do. They do.
I was going to ask you about, life in Miami now. I mean, warmer climate, this opportunity hit. Did you know back then that, even if it was very cursory, that this is what you wanted to do?
I didn't know you could do this for a living. I knew that I was an artist because I love to dance and perform, but I didn't really know, coming from Haiti, that you could actually do this for a living, especially, being a model. I just never thought of it. But like I said, people were planting seeds with my mom or whenever they saw us out together. But moving to Miami, I was excited. I was going to go to school with kids that had skin like me and hair like me. And I was just going to have a ball, right?
Right.
So I get to a school, and being the new girl in school and being, a pretty girl in school, the guys were happy that I was there. The girls were not so happy that I was there. And then
who is this? Who is this coming into my territory?
Exactly.
Okay.
But also, I spoke different from them. I learned English the proper way in Massachusetts, so I tend to speak a certain way, I have a certain cadence.
Yes.
And they thought that cadence was, I thought I was white, I thought I was better, I thought that I was, so that was an adjustment. So me being so excited to go to school with kids that look like me turned out to be not what I thought it was going to be. And girls wanted to wait for me after school, want to beat me up, and you see me, I'm not a fighter.
Right.
If you're paying me and it's a script, I will fight you, but that's not my nature.
Now before we get into the modeling, here you are, trying your best to adjust, right? That must have been hard on you. Just personally, individually to take.
It was because I didn't know any different. So for me, I was looking forward to being sort of with my own kind, if you will, and just fitting in and feeling like when I first got to Massachusetts and I started going to school, I was the only Black kid in school at the time, and kids would pull my hair to feel it, or they would touch my skin. It was a new thing for them. So going from that to the expectation of being with people that are like me, it was a disappointment that it wasn't what I thought it was, but it's life.
Wow. Okay, so
yes,
and we'll double back on that in a minute. So this woman reaches into your car,
Eileen Marie, yes.
Woo, and she's from this modeling agency.
She's the owner of the modeling agency.
Wow. So
so now I'm walking in with confidence because I've got her card.
Right.
I'm supposed to be here.
You're like, yeah, I'm here.
Exactly.
Did you know I'm supposed to be here?
Yeah.
What happened next? Did they book you? Did they sign you on the spot?
Well, they signed me, and I had to, take photos and start building my portfolio because I had nothing. So we started doing test shoots and getting my portfolio. And Eileen Ford, what she did at that time is she would travel all over the country, all over the world looking for new talent. So about 6 months after I signed with Irene Marie, Eileen comes into town, and of course they sort of introduce her to their girls that they think have potential to go to New York. So I meet Eileen Ford, and she says, "I want you to come to New York." And she pretty much tells my mom that all I need is a toothbrush and to send me out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now I'm 17 years old, and my mother is my champion, and she's like, "This is an opportunity that you need to take." And my father was in and out of in and out of our lives, so he was against it, but my mom totally was my champion and sent me off, and I lived with Eileen for a few months, and then I moved to the model's apartment. And I remember, living in Miami, always hearing about New York and the subways. All I ever hear are people being pushed in front of the subway, so that's the last place I want to go. It's like the subway.
And back to the cold. And back to the cold, too.
Well, yeah, and the cold. But I was already adjusted to cold because I was in Boston before then, right?
Okay.
So I was worried about the subway. So when you're a model, they give you a list of go-sees. And go-sees is you go see photographers, you go see ad agencies, you go see people so that they know you're here and they can book you if they like you. So my first day, I get a list of go-sees and they're like, just take the subway. And I'm like, what? Hell no. So another model was going on similar go-sees, at least the first 3. And she's like, listen, we'll go together. You'll be fine. So we go down to the subway. We're standing on the platform. I'm scared. I'm thinking of every horror story I've ever heard about New York. And we're standing there, and this guy comes from behind me and taps me on the shoulder.
Uh-oh.
And I scream bloody murder like he was about to kill us because I was already on edge.
See, I see a pattern building now, Garcelle. I see a pattern building here. Okay, so what did this, okay, now who was this dude?
He wanted to know if this was the E train. It wasn't anything crazy. But anyway, we'll pass by that story.
Wow. Okay, so you're in New York now.
I'm in New York.
With people scaring the hell out of you.
Not on purpose.
Right. And it's not it's not, if you go to New York, the subway.
No, I tell you, that's my favorite.
It's not, it's really easy.
It's my favorite.
How is life now? I mean,
in New York?
In New York. I mean, you're basically being walked into the Big Apple, right? Yeah. But I'm sure you still had to work, right?
Oh God, yeah, of course. Okay. I mean, go-sees nonstop. You had to really walk the city back and forth to go see all these photographers and new designers and doing test shoots so you can continue to build your portfolio. And it was a whole other life that I wasn't familiar with, but at the same time, 17 years old, no family in New York. But I love the excitement. I love the journey. I'm a Sagittarius. We love adventure. We love new things. And so that fit in with me, and I tried to, I just tried to immerse myself. And at first, waiting to get, your first job, a friend of mine told me that the Playboy Club was looking for Playboy bunnies.
Right.
So I got a fake ID saying that I was 19 because you have to serve liquor. And so I went and I applied and I got a job at the Playboy Club on 59th and Madison, which is like crazy, right?
Wow.
So I start working 2 weeks of training. You have to learn, not only do you have to learn everything that goes in the drinks, you also have to learn the garnishes, but you have to order them. You have to know them in order of how the bar is set up.
Yep.
So you have to say, if you can say Manhattan, it has to have a cherry. It's got to do this. And it's amazing, right?
Right.
So
people don't understand that either. They don't understand any of that.
That was sort of what made the Playboy Club what it was. It was iconic. It was, classic and classy. And so 2 weeks of training, we had a bunny mother she was fantastic. She had this beautiful blonde hair. She smoked a cigarette, with the addition, so it was longer. I mean, it was
filter
very sexy woman. And so she would train us and how to do the bunny dip at the table. And and before you went out on the floor, you had to go be checked in by her. Your makeup had to be on point. Your nails, your costume had to be on point, and you weren't allowed to go down until she thought you were good to go.
Okay. Wow.
So once you got on the floor of whatever level where you were working, whether the lounge or the cocktail, there was all different levels. The managers protected us like nobody's business. You would think it was a Playboy Club. Guys would be grabby, or it was nothing like that. I made so much money off tips. It was ridiculous. And then my modeling took off and then I had to stop, but it was so much fun.
Wow. Now you're staying in contact with home, right?
Yes. Well, not telling them what I'm doing, but
right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What were the conversations like between you and like your mom and that kind of thing?
She wanted to know what it was like. And the funny thing is, being from the islands, we tend to wear a lot of color. Mm-hmm. I love color. I love yellow, all these different colors. So, but living in New York, it's all about, being chic and wearing black. So The first time I went home to visit my mom, like the first 3 days, I'm only wearing black. And she's like, who died? Like, why are you? Like, what happened to you? I was like, this is New York. This is what they do.
I said, did you lose your job? Did your boss die or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Golly. Okay. All right. So, Garcelle, when I was doing my homework on you, I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit here. I got even more impressed with you. You are one of the hardest working actors in Hollywood. People, you just don't understand. I'm sure that there's more than what I cited, what I read about. But folks, from 1984, I counted 70 credits as either an actor or producer for you.
Crazy, right?
I mean, a phenomenal life. So my first question is, outside of the being an extra down in Miami, do you remember your first real role in television?
Wow. Now I may make a mistake. I think my first real role is I did an episode of Miami Vice.
You are good. Yes.
Am I?
Folks, you were a waitress in Miami in '84 when it debuted.
Yes, and I had done a music video with Michael Mann, who was the director and executive producer of Miami Vice. And so doing the video with him, and it was a video with Peter, I want to say it's Peter Mann, I'm not sure. It'll come to me before we're done. Anyways, no, Michael Mann, it was Peter Wolf, the video.
Peter Wolf, okay.
And it was a music video we did that I was his leading lady. And when they were putting the video together, and I'd get on set and it was beautiful, and they were like, we have a Lamborghini for you to drive. And I thought, wow, I've never even seen a Lamborghini in life, and now I'm going to actually drive one. And then we're about to shoot, and they go, so you can drive stick, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, what? And I go, no, I don't know how to drive a stick. Why?
The dream just crashed. Just like, oh, well.
They ended up towing the car in the video to make it look like I was driving it.
Okay, see, I'm going to have to find that video now.
Oh, God.
And I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to find it. I got to find it now. At that point, now before when I asked you the question when you were younger, about your dream and that kind of thing, did you have a more concrete dream at this point? Like, okay, I kind of know. I was
riding the dream I was on and couldn't believe it.
Okay.
Like it was just so foreign to me, and I felt so lucky and blessed, and thought it could be over tomorrow. So just have a good time, and that's what I did. I learned a lot. I learned a lot in terms of fashion, designing, the way a set works, and I learned so much.
Wow.
Your angles, lighting, all that stuff. It was, school and training.
Wow. Now, with all of this good work that you're doing, including, co-hosting and doing all this stuff, you still find time to be a storyteller. Tell me about the latest project you're doing of Lalo's House.
Oh, Lalo's House. Lalo's House is a story that deals with child sex trafficking. And I met the director, Kelly Kali, who was at the time a student at USC, and this was her thesis. And she's been working on this story for 8 years and really wanted to get it made, but didn't really know how to go about it. And she had a storyboard, and on her storyboard, she had people that she wanted. And they say when you do a vision board, you're really putting it out in the universe. Yeah. And I was the actress that she wanted for this role. So she would pretty much ask anybody she knew in Hollywood, Garcelle? How do I get to Garcelle? How can I get? And she did that until she finally found someone who said, I have a friend who knows her. And so from that, she put a meeting together, and she's like, she's not even going to come. She's not going to show up. She didn't think I was going to show up until I finally showed up. And she told me the story, and I felt like it was something that I wanted to be a part of. And then I talked to my producing partner, Lisa Wilson, and it was a no-brainer for us because it's a story that is told in a beautiful way, but it's a tragic story. And sex trafficking, I don't know if you know, or if your audience know, it's happening all over.
All over.
All over.
Here in the United States too. I mean, people just, yeah, it's major. It's major.
It is major. It might even overtake drug trafficking because it's something that they can do more of with one person, two person, three person to reuse them as opposed to a one-time drug deal. But anyway, we wanted to do the story and we wanted to shoot it in Haiti, which is, where I'm from. And so we got to shoot part of it in Haiti and the rest in LA. And it's been getting a lot of buzz. We just won an award at the Pan-African Film Festival. So it's been our baby. It's been our passion project. And it's great for us to come out with something that hopefully will make a change or at least get people talking.
I told you when I first saw the trailer, I mean, I could just feel the emotion just like welling up in me. I try to stay up specifically on these types of issues. And this is like, this story is important to tell.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Was it hard on your heart to film it?
Yes, absolutely hard. There were days that, even though I'm acting in it, I'm also executive producer. So me and my partner were there every day and knew what the shots were and knew what we needed to get our day done and how many scenes and all that. But one day we were shooting a particular scene where I was sort of auctioning off this little girl. And we were rehearsing it. But to the little girl, we told her that she was modeling because we didn't want her to know. Even though she's a star of the movie, she doesn't know what the movie's about because we really tried to protect her because she was only 6. And
she's so precious too. She's so precious.
Oh my God, she's amazing. But a little diva side. She wouldn't come out of her trailer until she got a popsicle. Don't get me started.
It reminds me of someone I know.
I don't know who you're talking about. But anyway, so we were rehearsing this scene. And I don't know what happened to me, but I got so emotional and had to walk out and just let it out. It just really hit me that, yes, we are performing, but this is actually happening in real life.
Wow.
So that was tough. And there's also another scene in there that's really hard to watch, but we really wanted to put something that would shock people because that way it stays in your brain and hopefully you can talk about it and talk to kids and try to keep them safe.
Yeah. Wow. I can't wait. Good. I can't wait to see it. You ready for some questions before I kind of wrap up?
Sure.
All right. Let's go to the magic board and see what we have. So this is from Lim Washington.
Hi, Lim.
He says, you're a terrific actress. And he says, what have or are some of your favorite roles?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I really enjoyed the Jamie Foxx show, obviously, for a lot of reasons, because it was sort of my first comedy. I got to work with Jamie, and working with Jamie, we would rehearse 4 days a week, and then we'd put up the show like a play in front of the audience. Oh, okay. And with Jamie, when the audience came in, he fed off that energy. So many times what you had scripted or what you had memorized no longer plays because he is ad-libbing, he is trying new things. So it was really a great improv class. And I had gone to, I had taken an improv class in LA before I started doing the Jamie Foxx show. And that really helped me because doing improv, it's all about being open and saying yes. Right. So whatever somebody throws at you, if you say no, you cut it off and that's defensive and you can't go anywhere. So you always said yes and added to it. So that really helped me work with Fox.
Wow. I mean, that's almost like a metaphor for life, isn't it? To a certain degree. I mean, you have certain emotions, you have things that are going on, not necessarily that you're saying yes to, okay, I'm in dread, but you're letting it be okay.
Right. Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Wow. Another question.
No, Jamie Foxx was great. Also, Flight. I got to work with Denzel Washington.
Okay, you got to tell me about it. I hear he is just purposeful in terms of acting. Very okay.
Oh, he is focused. He is. He makes all his choices. I don't know beforehand, but he comes and he's very prepared. Okay. And I remember. I had auditioned for another part in the movie as one of the flight attendants.
Okay.
And then I didn't get that role, and I was really bummed. And then I got a show, Franklin and Bash. So if I had gotten the part of the flight attendant, I wouldn't have been able to do Franklin and Bash because God has a plan, right?
Right.
So then I'm at home, and I get a call from my manager, and he's like, they want to see you to play Denzel's ex-wife. You're the only one they're bringing in, but you have to drive to Santa Barbara to meet Denzel and Robert Zemeckis.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I'll drive to Santa Barbara. It's beautiful anyway.
Yeah. What time is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I can be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. And it's an hour and a half drive at least without traffic. And so I went there, and I had known Denzel because my older son went to school with his twins, but he's not somebody that just because he was at the school wasn't like we were buddies. I mean, he's Denzel Washington, right? He strolls in. It's almost like he's walking on air. So I get to the location, the director's office, and there's Denzel and him, and he goes, let's just work the scene together. And we did. And it was really like, I have to pinch myself. And then on my way home back to LA, I got the part. So it was great. It was great.
Yeah. And girl, the movie was wonderful. It unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, Denzel's amazing. And what's interesting with him is that we rehearsed the scene where I open the door and there he is, and he's my ex-husband. Right. And for me, I thought, I don't know who's at the door. So I want to open and be sort of like open to whoever's there. But once I see him, I change. Right. And so we do it a couple of times. And then Denzel says to me, do you know I'm here? It's me at the door. And I said, no. And then it made me question everything. I'm like, he's won Oscars. Should I listen to him? Then I'm like, you know what? Then director came up. He said, I like what you were doing before. And I'm like, I got this.
I've been doing this a while now. I got this. This might be Denzel, but I'm Garcelle. Another question. How do you find balance with acting, fundraising, producing, writing, and being a mom?
Yeah. That's, I don't know sometimes. Sometimes it's really hard. I think, my kids obviously come first, and I try to do that as a parent. And even the other day, I was going for a walk with one of them, and I said, you're my priority, right? And he's like, Mom, I know. Right. Kind of rolling his eyes, but that's important to me. Right. I don't know. You find a way to do it. I mean, other parents do it. My mom did it. Yeah. I think you just, I love what I do. And so therefore I always want to do it in whatever capacity. And I think nowadays, being an artist, you're not boxed into one thing. I'm not just an actress or just a host or whatever. You get to do all kinds of things. And for me, it keeps it interesting. I don't want to be bored. I get bored easily. I want to keep doing things to challenge myself and create.
It doesn't feel like work for you, does it? Like work, right? I mean, there is work in it. But
sometimes, yes, but not always. Not always. Like anything. Right. There are days that are great, and there are days that I want to stay in bed and not come out. But at the end of the day, I love what I do.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to ask you the last question, and then we'll start kind of wrapping here. Living the life that you've had, and for those that may not be happy in their life situation, specifically professionally, what would be your words of inspiration for them?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I think you have to stay true to who you are and what you really want. You have to really listen to your soul. If you're going to work just for a paycheck, I think sometimes that makes you unhappy. I think you have to go to work doing something that you love. And I remember Russell Simmons saying that what you do, if you love it enough, you would do it for free. Yeah. Right. And I think that's really true too. You have to persevere, especially in the being an artist. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of, although I've been working so much, there's so many jobs that I didn't get. Right. And that's part of the process. But I think if you follow your truth, and that's really something you want to do, you got to persevere. You got to stay with it. You got to have a support system that tells you that, all right, you didn't get this one, but the next one's coming around the corner. And it happens.
Wow. Thank you, Garcelle.
My pleasure.
I mean, what you're talking about is truth. I mean, in many of the interviews that I've done here on Solivity, the common theme first is you've got to become more self-aware, right? You've got to know and get in tune with who you are, what you love, and then that process, through that, you'll start that pathway to what you want to do in life will unfold.
Right.
And you'll get to that, okay, this is what I really love to do. I mean, I would do this for free. I mean, now you be wise about it. I mean, you got bills to pay and all that. So make a plan for that. I don't want anybody going out there just driving off the deep end and that kind of thing when they've got families and stuff like that. But, you can get there. And here's Garcelle's story where, from a long time ago, girl, you decided you were intentional. This is who I am. This is where I want to go. And things just kind of unfolded for you. So I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Before we go, I know you got a whole bunch of other projects and stuff. So I want to hear about those. But I hear that RuPaul's got a new show coming out.
Yes, he does, or she does. I don't know. RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star season. So it's all the people who have won in the past who are coming, and they're all competing. And I'm a guest judge on this Thursday show. And I got to hang out with my buddy, Ross Matthews, who I adore. Wow. And it was really a learning experience in so many ways. I mean, in terms of the process that these guys go through. I mean, they're real artists with putting on the makeup and the dressing and the tucking and all of that, all of it. I remember one interview with RuPaul where he was talking about walking. I learned so much about how models just walk. Yeah. That's another show. That'll be another show. That's another show I'll come back for. And also I have another show called The Arrangement that comes out on Sunday, March 11th. Okay. It starts premiering on E! Now, when does Lalo's House premiere? Lalo's House, we are putting in film festivals, and it's a short, so we're working on the feature now. We're working on developing the feature. Okay. And you're working on another documentary, I think. Was that the one that we were talking about before, or another film? No, we're not ready to talk about that one just now. Okay, so that'll be another show. Another show. Well, thank you, Garcelle. I mean, my pleasure. Again, I hope that people get inspired by your story, and the main thing is, again, we all go through things in life. There's always challenges, and it's how we approach it, how we move through it, and what we learn on the other side that keeps us moving and moving and moving. Amen. It wasn't always a smooth sailing. So yes, that's important to know. So thank you again. And until our next show together. Okay. I will say this is Brian Westley Johnson, thanking each and every one of you for joining us tonight. I want to wish all of you a very happy, peaceful, and passion-filled life. Good night. Good night. And we're out. Done. Awesome. You're awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Did you have fun? He's just clapping in the background. Really? Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, there were questions that were coming in after that, but I was like, nah, we ain't no. I'm ready for a drink with my girl. I love it. No, phone call. That was crazy. Would love to have you on again. I mean, we'll talk about that later. Sure. Thank you for showing the trailer. Oh, girl, no, this is what we do. Awesome. This is what we do. If I have a platform, I'm going to use the fuck out of it. Great. Great. If you know of anyone that you can recommend that would love to come on the show, just shoot them my way. Will do. Just like Rick did for me. Absolutely. And we'll keep this thing going. If there's any ways that I can support you and what you're doing, especially with Lalo's House, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, please. That's no brainers for me. Love it. I will promote the hell out of that kind of stuff. Awesome.
You know.
Awesome.
So
Thank you, Brian.
no, merci, monsieur.
Dogashi.
Well, I'll be in touch. I'll let you guys know when the final is done. I'm probably working on it.
And then I'll post it on my Facebook too.
Yeah. And I've got Rick on. Rick's going to be here in DC.
Oh, he is?
On Saturday. So we're going to do a live show together.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, I can't
I love
wait.
that man so much. He made a donation for Lalo's house when we were raising funds for it. So he's amazing. And he never even said anything. We didn't know until we saw the final cut and we listed the donors. And I was like, Rick!
That's my boy.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been knowing Rick. I mean, like I said, I met Rick in, it's 88.
Wow.
87.
Wow.
And we've been friends from that point till now. And he hasn't changed. And I mean, of course we've changed, but in terms of that baseline, that baseline. So I'm going to let you go, honey. Let you get you don't need the courage anymore, but get to the liquid.
Okay. Well said, Brian. Bye, babe.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
We want to thank you for watching Solivity.com's passion-driven interviews with founder Brian Westley Johnson. From celebrities to best-selling authors, Solivity.com is all about inspiring you to live your dreams and create your best life today. We invite you to listen to our other fantastic interviews with new ones available every single week. Please also visit Solivity.com and start your journey toward your passion, your purpose, and higher quality living. See you next time.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this audio is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.